Hello and welcome to BobHolznerFineArt.com. In this video slideshow, I'm going to show you the process I went through in creating my Munster Mansion 3D art piece. It was an extensive piece that I did, and a whole lot of different elements to this, and there's a whole lot of things that I didn't even know what to do when I first started. When I start a project, I don't basically know how to complete it, and I just figure it out along the way, a lot of improvisation. Let's figure this out, let's figure that out. That's part of the process that I really love about my art, is figuring this stuff out as I go. And this one, there was a whole lot of figuring out stuff as I go. One of the harder things about doing this 3D art project is figuring out what the heck is behind all the stuff in front of the house. All right, now you got the fence in the front, the gate or the wall, whatever you want to call it. There's a gate, but it's behind the Munster Mobile. So I can't see the gate. I can't see what the gate looks like. And the house itself, there's all these trees and bushes and shrubberies. I can't see behind all that stuff to know what to paint the house. Now, being I'm doing a 3D house, I can't just paint what I can see and just paint the other stuff in front of it, because I'm doing a 3D thing. I got to know what it looks like behind all that stuff. So one of the first things I had to figure out was what the gate looked like behind the Munster Mobile. So I found this photo that shows pretty much a close-up of the gate. It's got the mailbox in the actual right pillar, and so it gives me a good idea of what I'm going to need to do to design that. So that was cool to find this. So what I did is I used Photoshop and I put the picture in there with I used for reference, and I took the Munster Mobile out of the picture. I just erased it all. And then I took the gate area from the other photo that you just saw, and I put it in here to scale into the photo I'm going to use for my reference. So now I got the wall in there. I know what the wall, I know what the gate looks like, so I know that aspect of it. So that part was done. But I also needed to figure out what is behind the gate and what is behind all of those trees and shrubbery. And I could not find any pictures of the Munster Mansion that helped me. I mean, there were old other pictures from other movies that they changed the way that the house looked, that didn't have all this stuff in front of it, but it wasn't a true representation of what the Munster Mansion actually looked like behind all this stuff. But I did find something. So when I did a search for the Munster Mansion images on Google, I saw these images of an actual model of the Munster Mansion. You can buy this model and you can build it, and it's a little small model, but it actually shows you what the Munster Mansion looks like behind all the shrubbery and all the trees and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, now I know what it looks like, through this model picture. So this is what I based what I'm going to use to create what's behind all that shrubbery, what the house actually looks like. So I went back into Photoshop and I used the original photo of the Munster Mansion, and I took pieces from the model and superimposed it over the actual photo so I know what the stuff that I can't see behind all the shrubbery is. So now I know basically what I have to draw. I know what the Munster Mansion looks like behind all the stuff. So now I have a starting point. And this was awesome. This was a big step. Now that I have a starting point and I know what to paint, I have to start with a blank slate, like any artist or writer. Writer has a blank page, artist has a blank canvas. And being this is a dark-themed project, a haunted house, a Munster Mansion, I figured a black canvas is in order. So first thing I did was painted a black canvas, and here it is. So now that I had a starting point, I had a working image to work off of that shows the Munster Mansion, and I have a black canvas. I printed an actual full-size 16 by 20 photo of my pieced together design of what the mansion looks like behind all the stuff. And then the next step is to sketch that onto the canvas. So the next step is to finish the sketches as much as possible to give me an idea of what I'm going to be putting behind it. Being I'm doing a 3D project, I'm going to do a lot of the front of the house itself with wood. I'm going to build it in wood. And so there's a balcony on the left-hand side. It'll be wood paneling on the house. There's the porch in the front that I have to build. There's a balcony on the right-hand side, a little round window. So all this stuff I have to build using wood. That's the next project. Get it on there, the sketch done, know where it is, and then start sizing up the wood to build this thing. So I started the wood phase of the Munster Mansion 3D project with the left wall section and the bottom of the balcony. And here it is. So I cut the wood, put it to scale on the canvas, and glued it all together. I next started the work on the right side with the round window. And what's really cool is later on, I don't have a photo though, is I put curtains in that window of a cat face. So you see the eyes above each of the upper right and left segments of that round window. It looks really cool, but I have all that vegetation and trees in front of it. You can peek through the trees and see it. It's one of those little hidden gems of this piece. So moving out from the round window, I went ahead and placed them on the actual picture that I had. I put the left side on there, the wall segment and the bottom of the balcony. I went with a gray color at first, but after looking at some more color photos of the actual Munster Mansion, the color wasn't really gray. It was another color, so I ended up changing the color of these, and you'll see it later in the video. I next started working on the left window under the balcony, and as it pans out, you'll see that I used a olive color for the actual wood, which I think is more representative of what the Munster Mansion looked like. And the curtains I used these spiderweb curtains in the background, which I thought was a really nice touch to this. Pretty cool, I think. So here is how the two pieces look on the actual photo with the green color. And I had some problems with the round window there on the right, so I had to recraft that. And this is in the middle of the process of that, as you can see. Here is the left wall segment with the window finished and painted with the spider curtains in the background. I actually used a clear plastic behind the actual frame and in front of the actual curtains to give it a glass look to it, so it looks like there was actually glass in the window panes. I next turned my attention to creating the actual porch, and this was going to be a little bit harder because it sticks further out. It's not just glued right onto the canvas itself. It actually sticks out, so there's depth to it. So I had to create all the different pieces, cut it out, and glue them all together. I actually put a couple pieces of plastic simulated bricks and painted them for like the brickwork under the porch. And you can see I have the actual the banisters, or the railings with the wood pieces not exactly attached yet, but I had them stuck in there just so you could see that that's what the plan was and to put in there. I found some cool goodies to use for the actual banister segment of the porch, because I had to build the steps too. You know, the bottom banister, and then it usually has like a round handle on it. I found these little skulls to use that I thought would be a real nice touch to it. Then I found these little dragons that I was going to put on the actual pillars of the gate by the fence, you know, getting into the actual Munster Mansion. It's not part of the original Munster Mansion, but I just thought it would be a little fitting tribute to their pet Spot as the little dragons guarding the way. So here's the actual finished porch area with the steps built and the head posts with the skulls, and it's all painted. Got it painted the way that I thought it looked on the pictures, and came out really well. My first steps that I've ever built. So a little proud of this part of this piece of art. Here's a side view of the actual porch to give you a little bit of the perspective of how it sticks out. And I included the left wall piece with the window in there as well. And I got some railings in there, and you can see the skulls there on the bottom. Turned out pretty well, I think. I started the work on the right side above the round window. I got the wood paneling there. There's going to be a window in there, and I have to cut it out, so that's not finished yet. But I got it all painted, and I placed all the pieces on the canvas to give you a perspective of how I built everything in the right perspective and scale to what the actual sketch is behind it. And it's coming along. So I had to finish the sketch a little bit on the right hand side because there's a little wing to the Munster Mansion that goes off to the right on an angle. So I got that sketched on there, and now I have to start working on the actual floor plan. So I had to put a base on it because I have to build the front yard, the wall, sidewalk, and put a place for all the trees and everything. So I started working on the basic floor plan, and I found some floor plans, photos online of the actual Munster Mansion. So I used this to help plot out, at least start the designing phase of what that base is going to look like. Here's the actual photo that I found of the floor plan. It's a bird's eye view, so it gives me a good perspective of how the yard's going to look. From the sidewalk from the front porch to where the street is. It shows me where the bushes and trees are, and it's very helpful in giving me an idea of how I'm going to craft this base that sticks out from the actual canvas where I'm going to build the front yard and everything. I started out with the base working from the actual porch outward, and so I had to build a little bit of like concrete slab or whatever you want to call it, where the actual porch sits on, with the sidewalk starting to come out from the porch area, and have a long way to go. Big old project. In this slide it's showing where I marked off the actual base plate. This whole piece of wood sticks out from the actual canvas, so this is a pretty big piece. 3D piece, it's the most extensive 3D piece that I've worked on. So as you can see, the sidewalk is going to come out. It shows where the wall is going to be, where the sidewalk in front is going to be, where the street is, and so I had to basically lay that out to give me an idea where I could start now putting the styrofoam and building up with sculpt the mold, building the actual yard itself, and where the trees are and all that, and the wall is going to be, and the sidewalk is going to be. So this was the first huge step in that process. A friend of mine, Dave Otto, who lives in Texas, posted some photos of some full moons that he took. And I was really impressed by his work, and I asked for permission to use one of his photos in my Munster Mansion 3D project. I figured having a really cool full moon above the mansion would be a real nice effect, and I really think that it really made this piece a lot better than what it would have been had I not had that moon in there. It looks really, really, really cool. Here's a photo of that picture Dave Otto took of the moon, and I placed it on the canvas. This is the first version. I had to do another version because I didn't cut it out right, and it didn't line up with the building and the chimney up there. But I wanted to put like bats coming out of the chimney, and there's a big TV antenna that's stuck up on that chimney up there. And as you can see, I finished the window on the right wall segment above the round window, and I actually finished the base plate with the sculpt mold, styrofoam, because I had to build up the ground to actually meet where the building is. And you can see where I put the plastic brick, simulated bricks that are painted red on the bottom where the building is. So it's coming along. Now I have something to work with. In this slide you can see that I started working more on the base. I put some styrofoam in the back area to give a little bit of height because there's going to be bushes in there, and you can see I worked on the actual gate and the wall in the front, and I put the sidewalk in there. I still need to add some sculpt mold to blend those high parts, in the yard to make it like a smooth transition, and then I'll probably paint it black, I would imagine, and because I'm going to put diorama fake grass in there, so I actually dropped some grass in there. So here it is so far. In this slide you can see the guardian dragons on the post tops that are along the wall and the gate that goes into the actual yard for the Munster Mansions. You can see the porch in the background and the skull on top of the actual bottom banister post. and it's coming along. I'm excited. Okay, in this slide I finished the blending of the ground, the yard area with Sculpt and Mold. I already painted it black, and these areas where you see the black, I will put grass in there, some fake diorama grass, and I'll probably put some bare spots, you know, like I don't think the Munster family really took care of their grass too well, so there's going to be some bare spots where the dirt's showing. But it's coming along. Alright, in this slide you can see I'm starting to add some of the trees. I found this dead branch outside and I used it on the left. It looks really cool as a dead tree in front of the house, in front of the sidewalk on the left. And I got a pine tree in the back that I bought at Michael's on sale around Christmas time, and it's a little big. I think I ended up trimming it down because the porch in the back is actually done. You just can't see it. And you can see I finished the right-hand segment above the round window. I got that little window in there above that, and I actually finished that balcony front up there. And it's coming along, but I still need to do the door. You can't see the door in the porch, so I have to paint the door, and I got to work on the door area. So I'm going to take all this stuff off and just give you a basic look of the painting part without all the added stuff next. In this slide you can see that I have the base masked off from the areas I don't want to put the diorama grass in, and I put some pieces of tape on the actual yard area where the grass is going to be, because I'm going to put bare spots in there as if the grass didn't grow, and you know, the dirt's going to be sticking up, so I want to have some areas of bareness in that. Coming along. In this slide you can see that the basic painting of the Munster Mansion is done. I actually added the tree on the right upper corner. You can see the porch is done on the left-hand side with the windows behind it, and that was a little bit of a challenge to make that window up there for the balcony window, French doors or whatever it is you call those. And so I painted the door and put all the brickwork in there and painted where the other brickwork would be. Some of this stuff you're not going to see because there'll be stuff in front of it. But it's coming along. I finished the central section with the window open in front. I'm going to put a little goodie in there, a little surprise thing in there for my brother. And there's also going to be a little surprise on the actual front doors, because there's something that's on those doors on the original Munster Mansion that I wanted to do in this as well. In this slide, you can see that I actually did some of the grass. I put the grass in there. So you can see the grass a little bit on the bottom right, a little bit along the sidewalk going up to the front porch. I started painting the pillars. This is the first coat. I'm going to actually add more colors later. And I put a little mailbox in there in the right post. I crafted that out of wood and carved that little box. And this is the way that you would walk in to get to the Munster Mansion. Coming along. In this slide you can see I started adding the trees. I added the 2 trees on either side of the porch. They're like 2 pine trees that are on both sides of the porch. And I shaped them a little bit more, cut and trimmed them to be more realistic to the actual way they looked in the photo of the actual Munster Mansion. And you can see the grass area is done. I put the grass in the front and in the sidewalk segments, and you can probably see some of the bare spots in there. I got the first coat of paint on the actual fence, but I'm going to actually paint that again. And I actually got to put some spikes in there. There's spikes on those fences, so I got to put some spikes on there. That's going to be fun. I'll do that a little bit later in the video. Okay, in this slide, I wanted to personalize this 3D art piece for my brother and his wife, Carol. And they didn't know I was doing this for them, and I had to ask my brother for pictures of their cats. They have 2 cats. Kahuna is up on the top, and Sparky, who's laying down on the step. So I got some pictures for my brother, and I had to do it in a way that he didn't know that I was doing this for them. Now, the interesting story about his cats is his cats are the brothers of my cat, Kato. So they all come from the same litter, and they're brothers. So this was a nice little cool tribute to my brother and his wife's cats and my cat's brothers. So here's Cato. I wanted to put him in this painting as well, and he's an indoor cat, so his brothers are outdoor cats. So I had to put Cato in a way that he'd be inside the house. So what I decided to do is in the central window, I wanted to put a scene of my brother, who's there with a old style beer in his hand with his buddy Danny Long, who is the guy that I visited in Wisconsin who got me back into painting and doing 3D art. So that's a little tribute to him as well. And so I put Cato in with my brother and Danny in the black room. And what the black room is, my brother had a black room. My other brother, Mike, started painting the room black. I had it, I started painting it more black. And when my brother came in, he painted everything black. He had black rug, black walls, black curtains. And then he built this mural, this collage on his back wall that had pictures of his favorite rock stars and bands and stuff. So as a tribute to that black room and all the what Ron did, I decided to put in the Munster Mansion the black room in the central window. So when you look through the window, you can see Ron, Danny, my cat, and you can see the collage in the background. Nice, cool tribute, I think. So here's part of the window done. The open window, I put the picture of Ron and Danny and my cat Cato, and so you can see through the open window. But it's not done because I'm going to actually put the background of the room with the mural, the collage, in part of the other windows with the curtains opened up. I actually have the curtains from the black room, so I took some photos of those curtains like opened, and I'm going to put those, superimpose those in there using Photoshop later. And so this is the walkway leading up to the central section and that special window. In this slide, I added there's another big tree that's on the right-hand side next to the pine tree. It's a bigger tree from what I gather from the photo of the Munster Mansion. And I also got that at Michael's on sale. It's a bigger tree. And so I got that in there and kind of formed it to, fit in there. And so this is where that's going to be. And I started to add some of the bushes in the front too, in front of the fence and stuff. And some of these are real that I picked from some of the hedges in front of my apartment, and some of them are fake and crafted from the crafting store. So in this slide I've come a little bit further with adding some of the bushes and hedges. Like you can see some in the front of the fence as well as behind it, along the porch, and you can see the grass area and the bare spots that are going to be. Now there's going to be a really big tree. A really big shoe. There's going to be a really big tree on the right-hand side in the front that I'm going to have to craft. I'm going to have to make it because it's not something I could buy. So I'm going to have to piece that together, and I'm going to figure that out when I get to it. Okay, here's the central window area and the black room. I finished it. I put the black room and the curtains in the background. Ron and my buddy Danny and Cato, my cat in the open window segment. I painted the windows as if they're opened, and it's looking pretty cool. I think this is a really nice tribute to my brother, to Danny, and my cat Cato. I'm happy with this part. In this slide, I did some updating to the actual crafted part of the Munster Mansion. I thought it looked too clean. The paint was too fresh, so I had to scuff it up. I had to make it look old and, worn, and like it does actually in the Munster Mansion pictures and as well as the TV series. It looked pretty unkempt, so I had to make it look a little bit unkempt. So, I finished the right-hand segment and scuffed it all up and moved all the trees out of the way so you can see it. So here's the actual background with it all scuffed up. In this slide, I put the moon back in, and this is the photo of the whole Munster Mansion with all the scuff work that I did. And I repainted the fence, the gate, the wall in the front, and with the different colors. And I put some leaves in there on the ground to make it look like it's like in a fall scene, and some of the leaves are on the ground, and I put some grass and some weeds like kind of growing up here and there that kind of make it look more unkempt, but it's coming along. As I promised earlier, I told you I was going to put some spikes in the actual wall fence in the front, and here they are. I found some of these like olive pick holders that look like arrows and cut them to size and stuck them in there. And you can see the dragon on top of the pillar on there on the left pillar and the porch in the background. And I actually still have the photo back there for reference. And yeah, I thought the spikes add a lot to it. Kind of cool. So here's a close-up of the door with the goodies that I put together. The actual doors of the Munster Mansion have these lion head knockers. And I went to a crafting store, Tom Thumb, in Niles, I believe it is, Illinois. And I talked to the guy that works there and, told him what I needed. They didn't have any actual lion head knockers, but he was quick on his feet and he said, "Hey, look, I have these little rubber lions." And he goes, "Here, you could buy these rubber lions. They're only like 49 cents. You can cut the heads off, and here's these little brass rings that he had. They were like, I don't know, a dime each, 15 cents. And you can attach the brass ring to the lion's mouth to make it look like a knocker." And boy, I'm glad he suggested that because I think these look really cool and they add a lot to the actual 3D art piece. In this slide, I started working on the big old tree in the right-hand side. I had to put this together and craft it. So I walked around the neighborhood and I picked up fallen branches from the trees and after a storm and I first glued them together, but the glue kept breaking. So what I had to do is I had to take a drill and drill into each of the branch and put like a little rod, like a dowel rod. I don't know if you call it a dowel rod, but a little rod in there to attach to each piece together, and then I glued them that way, so that way it stayed together. So I actually had to piece this tree together to create this big old tree because there was no other way that I could figure out how to do it. And you can see the picture on the left that I use for reference for the tree. All right, in this slide you can see the big tree in process. I'm closer to getting it done. I think I added another big branch on the right hand side, and I added this other top part, which was another part of a hedge that I found downstairs, and tried to fashion it as best I could to the photo reference on the left. And it's coming along, and boy, this one took a while to get done and get done right and to figure out. But I'm really happy with where it's going. And I still got to add more stuff to it. I want to put some moss and stuff on there too to make it more creepy. Here's a close-up of the big old tree coming along, and still need to add some more parts to it and add some the moss like I mentioned earlier. And but it's I'm liking where it's going. And you can see the leaves in the front of the fence and the moss I did put on the actual fence. In this slide I added some more leaves in the front and some dead leaves and to make it look like a fall scene that these leaves fell from the big tree and other trees in the area. I put some moss on the actual fence and some of the spikes and stuff. I put some another bush there on the left-hand side by the sidewalk in front of the fence, and you can see some weeds in there as well growing. So it's coming along. I'm really liking where this is coming and where it's going to, but still got some more to do. Okay, so I started adding some of the moss to the tree, and you can see it there in the upper branches and the lower branches. Did a couple different colors of moss that I put in there, and add a little bit more moss to the fence itself in the front. But it's starting to look a little more creepy than the way it was before, and I think it's looking more realistic to what the actual tree looked like in the photos of the Munster Mansion and on the TV series. Here's a quick pan of the front fence area and sidewalk with the dead leaves and the moss and stuff in the fence and in the big tree. I still haven't put the trees in the background yet, and there's more bushes I have to put in the background. So it's just the front area and my progress with that area. Here's another pan view from left to right of the front gate and fence area with the dead leaves. All right, here's a pan from the big tree to the full view of the Munster Mansion so far. I added the trees in the background. I put some more bushes and trees in the back in their front yard area, and I added some more dead bushes in front and some alive, and some more leaves on the ground, and I put that dead tree on the left front hand side that's in front of the sidewalk. Here's another view of the Munster Mansion from left to right. This I used a flash photo, and there's some glare from the flash, but it picks up some details in some of the other areas that you would not see without the flash. And the next slide I will show you without the flash, so you can see more of some of the other details as it would look in more of a darker setting. Here is a slide of the photo I took without using a flash, so you don't see the glare in the moon and the back canvas. You don't see some of the details, but I think this is a truer representation of the Munster Mansion as it would look dark, in a dark scene, and at night, which is usually when you see the Munster Mansion, at night. So this is kind of the creepier looking version of it. Come on in and visit the Munster Mansion. As you can see, I put the actual 1313 on the pillar on the right above the mailbox, because this is 1313 Mockingbird Lane. Come on in for a good time at the Munster Mansion. This is the final version. My name's in the upper left-hand corner, and it's in a metallic paint, so it didn't really come out good in this photo. But I lightened the photo up a little bit so you get a better view of this whole photo and the whole view of what the Munster Mansion looks finished. So here it is, the Munster Mansion by Bob Holzner, 3D art. And here is a photo of the proud owners of the Munster Mansion, Carol and Ron Holzner, and my brother Ron on the right, holding the Munster Mansion in their really cool Arabian-looking parlor. The Munster Mansion. There it is. Thank you for watching my video slideshow of how I created the Munster Mansion 3D art piece. Again, thank you for visiting bobholznerfineart.com. I hope you enjoyed the video. And visit my page for my artwork that's available for sale, as well as the print page, which is under construction right now, and for future ordering of prints and t-shirts. Again, bobholznerfineart.com. Thank you.